It's been so long since I've used Zoom. I'm on a client that's Teams, so everything's new. Anyway, I don't like change. I'm old like that. Welcome to MVP Office Hours on today, July 8th, 2022. I am Dale Ziegler. Along with me is Joy Shutters-Helding. Say hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy. Oh, that's me.
That's you.
I can't
Squire is out doing some other fun things, but I believe he will be joining us for the next one. Upper right corner, there's all our handles, all our contact points, especially the mvpofficehours.info site where you can register anytime. You can get us via email at mvpofficehoursUS@gmail.com, but we highly recommend instead going to the Success Community, which, side note, Todd reached out to me within the last couple of weeks saying, hey, y'all have multiple sites. And that was news to me until I realized, oh, we're a topic. So if anybody searches for the MVP Office Hours hashtag, it looks like a different site, but it's a topic site. That's one way to get to us, but the main way we have linked here in the deck, which we will be sharing out later. Post your questions there. It's a great way for others to be able to jump in between calls with answers and guidance and feedback and anything like that. So we just cannot get off cadence. Today is, of course, the second Friday of the month, and our next meeting will be the fourth Friday of the month, which does not align with first and third. But if things were normal, which I've just resigned myself to, nothing's normal anymore, and it never will be again. So go life. Normally, we would be meeting on the first and third Friday of the month. We're obviously in summer, holidays. Also working around release readiness videos, which I believe will be coming up in September. So I'm sure we're going to flip the schedule on that one too. Anyway, this is meant to be an open Q&A with any questions, technical issues, anything that you may be experiencing right now, whether it's in production sandboxes, dev orgs, whatever. We are here to help. Welcome to anyone and everyone, whether you're a current MVP, Hall of Fame MVP, or future MVP, because if you're here to help. You're all MVPs. We hope that everyone has an opportunity to participate. No answers, bad answers. Share your experience, share your insight, any recommendations you may have. The chat obviously supports links, so share anything that you may be willing to share there. If you have a question, go ahead and post it in the chat, or if there's dead air, you can also just speak up and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I have a question. You can also use the reactions in chat to raise your hand, and Joy and I will be looking at the participant queue and the chat queue to get next questions lined up. You can share your screen. However, because we are recording, please do not show production if at all possible. Show us sandbox, show us dev orgs, show us a dummied up version of something, whatever, but because this is being recorded, the last thing you want is for your company's or your client's production data to be recorded on the interwebs for forever and ever and ever. Also, if you cannot be recorded or are not comfortable being recorded, please drop now. But I will have this loaded to our YouTube channel sometime this weekend. If not this evening, we'll also share the deck with links and other valuable stuff that gets shared during this call. Community events, getting back into the swing of being in person. Forcelandia is coming up here in a few days. CenCal, I'm assuming is Central California. That's also going to be next week. Michelle, since you're on, not to put you on the spot if you're still grabbing a bite, but Midwest Dreamin', want to take a minute to talk on that?
Well, why don't I just take Midwest and Witness, since I'm on planning committees for both?
Okay, there you go. Go for it.
So yeah, Midwest Dreamin' and Witness Success are co-located both this year and next year in Minneapolis at, I think it's the Hyatt. We're currently at about 730 attendees for Midwest. I know this because they roped me into picking up registration a little bit ago. So Dale, this has been super fun.
You're welcome.
I've been doing dry runs all morning too, so I've gotten to see a lot of the content. It's been great. I'm also presenting while we're going to be there on custom metadata. So if you can, we still have tickets available. We'd love for you to come. You can get your badge printed on site with my nifty new badge printer. And yeah, otherwise it's a community by the community for the community. We've got admin, architects, developer tracks, marketing and Pardot, as well as some humanity, equality, growth focused topics. 3 keynotes, a couple of networking receptions, and a pretty big exhibitor hall as well. So on its heels is Witness Success, which is a women in tech focused conference, but of course we welcome all allies, so everyone is welcome. It's going to be a day and a half, so it takes the last half of Friday and then all day Saturday for that content. There's also some more good technical content there as well, but there's also quite a bit of career focused and women in technology focused conference content at the conference as well. So there is a discount if you buy tickets to both. So that's pretty cool if you have the ability to attend either one of those. But yeah, that's what's coming up there.
Very cool. Thank you, Michelle. And you're welcome. And then the
I
following
see what
week,
you mean now, Dale.
I don't mean anything by it. I was paying forward. I was passing along fun. Anyway, and then the following week, Big Sky Dreaming in Montana. And then Dreamforce, getting bigger than it was last year, but still not as big as we're used to, but getting back to bigger and normal in September. I believe there's maybe only 3 or 4 hours left to submit your admin presentation ideas. I think that was end of business Pacific time today. So great way to go to Dreamforce for free if you get a presentation idea picked up. And
Are
then
you
the lower
talking,
right,
sorry, are you talking August events for upcoming events too, or did you cut off at the end of July on purpose?
Yeah, we cut off at the end of July. We'll get
Okay.
August in there for next one.
yeah,
It's overwhelming.
by the time we meet next, 4 of these will have dropped off. So scroll up. And then local groups, many are going back to in person, but also virtual. Definitely get connected locally because you are not the only one doing your thing in your metropolitan area. So go meet others just like you. It's a great way to get connected and ask more questions and just continue to empower yourself and others. So let's get to the meat of this. Todd, report inline editing. Want to talk us through this a little bit?
Hang on, I need to reread it a second. I've moved on since then. Yeah, I never have found out what happened with the phone fields. Of course, the time to call is a time and it's not supported by Salesforce yet. Excuse me one moment. She found a squeaky toy.
Best part of the call right here. There's something about a dog with a squeaky toy that makes me giggle like a school child.
Sorry
Yes.
about that.
That's amazing.
Basically, I never found a solution for this. We moved on and told them they needed to drill into the actual record to edit it for now, because this kicked in July 1, what their updates were requiring. But for some reason, I could not edit a standard phone field on the contact record with inline editing on the reports.
So this is Marty. Is the phone field a filter on the report?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Why do you ask that?
Because, because if it is, then it's not inline editable. Because that would change the filter. So I've had that situation.
Wish the answer was that easy, but no.
Correct.
Sorry.
But it was interesting because, like I said in my second bullet, I created a new report and all I did was change the report type and suddenly it was editable.
So it was editable with just a contact report type, but not with contacts and accounts?
Correct. That's what made it even stranger.
Hold on. Dale's
So
brain-
did this apply to every single contact on that first report type, or just everyone that you tried?
Well, I didn't select all 3,000 of them to try, but
Well, and
it did on all of them that I tested, yes.
the reason I ask is, isn't when you initially create a contact, doesn't the contact phone default to the account phone until you overwrite it? And would that have anything to do with it?
I believe the answer to your first question is yes, it does default.
Because what if you tried testing with with a contact whose phone number had already been overwritten on the detail record? Does that then allow you to edit inline?
Okay,
Versus if it matches the account's phone? I'm just throwing stuff on the wall right now, but
That makes me wonder too. I know that when I'm creating reports, I often, if there's a similar field on either object, I pull the wrong one into the report and think it's from the contact object, but maybe it's from the account object.
that's what I corrected the first time I went through the
Oh,
report
okay.
that my manager wrote.
Got it.
Oh, well, you just unearthed something there. Someone else whose title is manager or above started with this.
I'm not seeing, like, it says like, keep in mind, right, about task and event, object fields, system fields, obviously compound fields, including name and address fields, pick lists, custom date time fields, encrypted text, formula fields, standard fields of type, date, time, auto number, roll-up summary, record type, master detail, long text area, rich text, or hierarchy, and other fields where editing isn't permitted due to restrictions in the page layout or record type. But it doesn't say anything about phone versus fax, mobile, work, whatever.
Right, and I was running this under my admin login, so I have access to all of that.
Why would page layout editability dictate report inline editability? Page layout's
I
just a
don't know.
UI layer.
I don't know, I thought that was weird too, but I did double check that.
It's
And it
because they
is
gave up on
all the way up.
Lightning halfway through. That's why.
Well, if it's read only on the page layout for the record type, then I don't.
But it's not, that doesn't make it a read-only field. It just means you can't update it in the UI.
Right. I don't know what they have tripping over to their new fancy inline
Right.
editing.
And you're positive it wasn't the account phone field that was showing on the report, because if you're reporting on contacts with accounts, you're reporting on contacts. You
Right.
can't update the account from the contact. You only can update the contact from the contact.
Right. It was the right field, because now when you add a field to the report, it will actually section them off and divide them up according to object. So I had a
Okay.
section that said account, and underneath it said phone, and the other one said contact with phone under it.
Gotcha.
This might be off base because I'm used to NPSP, but I know that phone is actually like it chooses based off of the preferences that are set for that contact. So it's like, it's not actually a field as much as it is home phone or other phone, depending on what you've told it which one to use.
Yeah,
that
it's a bunch
could-
of workflows, Sarah, though. It's in the
Okay.
background. Yeah, it's just
Alright,
a bunch
so-
of simple workflows.
Got it.
I did look for that though, Sarah, because I know sometimes it kind of changes the label a little bit on certain things, but I threw that at the wall too, and it didn't stick.
Right. The phone isn't, it's not a formula field either that's pulling from
Correct.
somewhere else.
Correct.
So also knowing that Salesforce is kind of protective of some out of the box things in very random places, have you tried POCing another standard report type with standard fields on standard objects, like let's say an opportunity report, and updating close date to see if it's protected as well? Because like standard on standard on standard on standard, I could totally see Salesforce putting walls around being able to inline edit, and something has to be custom in that equation to allow for it to happen. I don't know. Again, I'm throwing stuff at the wall, but
Right. No, I haven't tried that. But like I said, they're trucking through it now. Once a year, the sales reps go through this exercise.
gotcha. Yeah, okay. I mean, I'd be curious to see if you do go down that path, report back. And
I'll go
Marty,
back
that
to
would,
it. I'll go back to it and try a few of these things and let you know what I learned.
yeah, thank you. And Marty, that was a really good call out there. I didn't know you couldn't update a filtered field.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of stuff around this that's helpful.
Which is interesting because report inline editing is easily what, 2 years old now?
Yeah,
mean,
20
it's not a brain-
2019, it was in
Oh.
beta. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's
GA
not a
now.
brand new feature.
Mhm.
And the other thing they did with this release was increase the number of data types that you can edit.
Hmm.
There used to be a big old long list of things that you could not edit, and now they've changed it to a much shorter list of what you cannot edit. So I don't know if that may have done something also.
Gotcha. So my other question, Todd, was why go with a time field for best time to call? And I'm only asking from my experience for like outbound sales and cold calling, whatever's been more like morning, midday, evening options. Why a specific time?
Because they're using best time to call in Salesforce maps. And they, in order to use some functionality within Salesforce maps to be able to do routing, and can I get from point A to point B in time for my meeting, it has to be a time field. Because it's calculating,
Gotcha.
it's doing distance and how long it'll take to drive there, and it can't calculate that with a text field that says morning, afternoon, right after lunch, those type things. Because I had to change that data type.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Anybody else have anything to offer on Todd's before we move on to Wendy?
This is, I just put in the chat, but that's the best I can get for us on the inline editing as far as like data types that are supported and what's not. And phone is listed as a supported type. So I don't know.
Thank you for trying.
And the good news is I haven't been in a report all week. It's been great.
All right. Well, thank you for the suggestions. I'll go give those a try.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is Wendy's not on. Wendy.
No,
object
but we can at least
specific
record and
action.
tag.
Yeah. She created
Objects-
an object specific action, right? Okay. You gotta click on that
Update
link.
records resides
Yeah.
only on a list view. I'm assuming the action only exists on a list view.
Mhm.
Okay. Only select users' role profiles should see the action. Is there a way to restrict visibility to the action?
Page layout assignment, like, right?
Well, on list
Oh,
views,
list view. No. Well, if she creates the list view and only lets those people see it, but the list view is all the list views, not just, it's the list view thing, not the list view.
list view is list view dictated at all by search layout, which can be separated out by profile?
You asked some really good questions.
Occasionally it happens.
I feel like I was arguing with custom actions like last month. And they gave me a headache. I had a different custom action for task record types for different folks. Default layout.
And it's all search layouts. I
All
must
the-
be thinking classic. And yes, I realize what I'm doing on a recorded line. Don't at me.
We don't have any questions queued up after Wendy. been an easy week in the Salesforce
I-
world.
Marty has a question if you're
All
done
right,
with the other.
Marty, you're up after we like take a swing at Wendy's without her.
Thank you.
I think this proves right here that list views are, it's one for all. No, I don't think.
Yeah,
there's a
because I
way to
feel
do
like
it.
the list view interface is, this is what's for everybody. Unless it's a record type specific action, and then the record type is restricted by the profile. Like the profile, only the specific profiles have access to that specific record type, and then they won't see the button.
I would think they would still see the button, but it wouldn't work.
Right.
You
Well,
can think
that's a
that,
good,
but
that's a
I'm
great
tell-
question though.
But I'm telling you, this is one of the things I fought with last week or last month or whenever I was fighting with it. And why have a mosquito bite? Dana? I couldn't figure out why I couldn't see the buttons. And I was like, well, Joy, you didn't assign it to system administrator.
Okay, so that does prove then that
Right.
record
And so
type by profile.
I think so, but like that was a custom action on, it wasn't on a list view. And so I don't know
Mm.
how that works for the list view. I was applying that on the chatter publisher box thing. I can't remember. And it
Is
was
that
not-
feature in beta too?
I'm sorry.
Is that feature in beta too? Like the
Dynamic actions.
custom action button view visibility.
Yeah, that's for record pages though. I
Oh,
think
okay.
list views are different.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the list views are a little bit different, but that was something I had run into with putting this custom task buttons. There's 4 buttons that I can see as a system administrator, but only the profiles can see their specific button now. But I don't know if like list views support that. That's a whole different thing. Ew. All right, and so Marty, you've got a question and Todd's got a question, and are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Go
So
for it.
this is, and I heard somebody say they're NPSP. So in NPSP, and I assume other places, there are managed report types. And I can't add a field to a managed report type. For example, I have custom fields on the contact object, and contact is in my custom report type, and I don't have the option to edit the layout. And if I create a new report type, then all the managed standard reports using that managed custom report types have to be redone. Is there something I'm missing? That's what I was afraid of.
And that's a
Immediately,
nuance
immediately
between,
disable all managed report types
Yeah.
for using.
It's like,
Well, can you, so, I mean, you have this situation, right? But Bill, I think you're onto something, right? Can you clone the managed report type? Is that something we can do? And then add the custom fields and then disable the custom report type?
Yeah, but then you gotta start rebuild.
yeah, but you gotta
reports.
recreate the report, yeah. You can't change
Yes.
the report type on a report, and there's a zillion
Oh, yeah.
reports that they use. I mean, that's the only way I can think of, and that's, all right, anyone has any ideas, let me know,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
disable mine right now.
Yeah.
I just thought of a few I installed recently.
Well, so when you disable a report type, does that disable the report?
Yeah, it
That are
does.
already created? Mm.
So that I did this. So I did a migration from something custom to the NPSP like allocations, for example. And I disabled all the custom report types. I disabled the objects. So all those reports don't work anymore, which my head of development was like, great.
Yeah. All right, thank you, everybody.
Oh, I don't like that answer, Marty. Sorry.
I don't either. It's also like, you know, if you're gonna put together a product, it goes outside of the spirit of Salesforce to even
well,
deliver those in some
the
ways.
The managed report type may be there to try to create some continuity across orgs, not so much against the spirit of
Yeah.
being able to customize, right? Like to create some continuity for the nonprofit groups that have a really hard time
Yeah,
getting
no, I get it.
folks to do the stuff.
Yeah.
Easier to train on when it's more consistent. All right.
I guess-
Subflow output variables. Oh, what do you got?
I was just thinking, it just sparked in my head about with like managed packages, there's different levels of like who can do what customization in them, right? But that's not true for managed report types. Like you can, or is the
Well,
managed
the
part?
report type is part of the managed package,
Okay. But the
right?
problem is that it's
So,
locked down with the managed part.
yeah, I don't know what kind of granularity they have on building the managed package to allow or disallow certain things. That might be on, it might be on
Yeah.
the partner, or it might be on Salesforce for not allowing that granularity.
Right. So I was just thinking like, yeah, if you could go back to the package developer and be like, can you set it so that I can update it? But
I'm gonna play around with this right now, actually.
I know,
Yeah,
I know this isn't going to work, but can you do a joined report with what you want? Which I don't, I don't know. It just like occurred to me. I was like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
that's an idea.
I mean, just to get to what you need instead of like, I don't know. But generally speaking, like custom fields on an object, you want those to be available on the custom reports. So it's, I have no idea if it'll work or not. Dale's making a face at me like I am insane.
Yeah, you'd still need to change the report, and that's what we're trying to avoid. I'd love to meet the client, the people that don't have any custom fields on contact. I mean, anyway, that's all.
Right. But you could,
I have to.
yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, Todd. Subflow
Again.
output variables. Holy buckets. Where are we going?
So I have a flow that it's a screen flow that creates a record in a custom object called lost business. I also have another flow that we use throughout the system called get current yearbook specs. So it spins through multiple object types and finds all these related records to the opportunity and comes up with today's price that we're actually going to charge this customer, because there's different components that can change the price, covers, end sheets, and a few other things. So I'm trying to call the get yearbook specs as a subflow like I do everywhere else, but when I try to pull back the output variable, it dies a horrible, ugly death with a red message. I don't get an email. Debug shows me nothing. The screen is blank. It's just an ugly red message. And I've been debugging all morning long, and I finally figured out it's the one line where I try to get the output variable for the price from the subflow. If I remove that, it runs.
Does that is that subflow an end of the overall flow, or does it go back into a preceding flow?
It's returning the results back to the calling flow.
Did you align? Is there an input variable to consume that output variable when it gets done with the subflow and returns back to the master flow? Is there an input variable?
That needs to be an input variable.
Been a long time since I've touched a flow, but I think so.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, if I understood that correctly, if you pass something to a subflow and then your subflow wants to push stuff back to your main flow, you need to have an input variable for whatever the last state of your subflow variable is to push it back up in its current
So the subflow passes its output variable back to an input variable
Mhm.
in the parent.
I always think of it as you have two different desks. You have flow 1 and flow 2, and you have to build a bridge between, but they're
Gotcha.
one-way traffic bridges. So one way goes from your main flow to your subflow, and if you want to pass something back, you need the opposite direction of traffic to have a bridge from desk to desk.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me make a change.
And Sarah will keep me honest here.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say it's something to do with input and output variables. I know it. Whatever it is, I'm sure that's what's going on here. Something is not marked correctly.
That. Let me add it back into my assignment statement or assignment component real quick.
I was also wondering, is it the output, is it a field on a record variable, or is it just like a
Just-
currency variable?
Currency variable.
Okay. Yeah, so make sure that's marked for output.
Yep, I
And
know
that-
it is. It's output
Okay.
on the subflow,
Cool.
but I didn't think about the bringing it back, having to be an input. Almost there.
Super secret, can't see it. It's so exciting.
I know. It took me so long to share the screen. I could have it. No, it died an ugly death again.
No,
But
you're
what's-
okay.
No,
Is
but
it
what's
the,
the
um,
error that you're seeing though?
Unhandled
Hang on.
fault.
Whoop. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Squire.
That's the Zoom error right now.
Squire.
Leave Squire
Uh,
alone. He's at an athletic field right now.
Yeah, but it's his account.
You can change it.
I don't know how.
Oh, hold on. Did you
I
make
need
me
an
a
adult.
co-host? Did you make me a co-host?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I'll get it. If I can find my right screen. All my screens are not organized the same way.
I just dumped the error message into the chat.
That's a GAC of
Yep.
does. You're not referencing any new fields that like haven't been set with field level security yet or anything, have they?
Don't believe so.
Okay.
Gosh, I'd forgotten that word, Dale. The
But
GAC.
GAC.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are there any other record triggered flows or workflow rules or anything else that could be happening when you try to do whatever the next step of the flow is that's actually causing the problem?
Let's see.
Because that's usually for me, a GAC is nothing to do with the flow I'm actually working on. It's some other automation that I accidentally messed up.
So what's happened? The parent flow has called the subflow and it has run and returned to the parent. And then in the next step, I take and I say assign PA fields. Sure wish I could show this.
Joy, have you figured out the sharing?
I'm trying. I'm
And
trying.
what I'm trying to assign is the price from the outputs to a variable on the parent. If that makes sense.
Done.
Okay.
What, you fix my problem or I can
You
share?
can share. You can share. now.
Oh dear. Please tell me it's Friday though.
It is. It is definitely Friday. I had that problem all week. It's been a
Yeah.
week.
We had 2 days off this week, so,
Whew, lucky. That'll really mess you up though.
all right. Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Mhm.
So here's my call to the subflow. And I'm letting it automatically assign variables. Because I get another error if I try to manually do it. It's gonna come down through here. I'm also passing back an error. I've got error trapping. If something bad happens, I'm gonna take the left branch. Otherwise, I come here and I try to assign it. And it's this line right here. So get current YB specs is the subflow name.
Okay, I think that's the problem. I
They're
don't think
named the
that's,
same.
yeah, I think your naming convention is not right. So,
Well, I also tried a debug variable and something totally different. I called it debug price, and it still failed with the same error.
but I
So-
think it's the value that's the issue because that's the name of your actual subflow. So that's your subflow action on screen, on your flow screen, right? So
No.
Yes, you
instead,
just need the variable.
No, that's my
Yeah.
output variable.
Mm-mm.
Outputs from,
yeah,
Yeah, but no.
I know what it says, but it's not.
Right, yeah. When in
So-
in the selector there, it gives you everything. It doesn't put enough, it doesn't refine it down
Oh,
enough
I've
to what
got
you
here.
can actually do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
that-
I
that's,
grabbed the action. Is that what I did instead
Yeah.
of the subflow?
so did
Oh.
you have, you need the input variable from your subflow. So you have your subflow that gives you whatever, and you need to make walls price equal to a variable in your main flow that is being passed its value from the subflow. So the output variable in your subflow needs to go to an input variable in your main flow that can then be used to set that variable. Or
Right, so
you can
it's-
just set. Are these all
It's
variables?
neither the action nor the it's neither the action nor the subflow. Those are just elements in your flow, but neither of those are variables that you can actually use.
Right.
Wait a minute,
I
this
just
is a
grabbed the wrong-
variable. So he's trying to set the value of the variables.
To the output. from
Yeah,
here.
that's fine, but the subflow there, that's just saying, oh, this is a subflow element that happens to exist in your flow. It's not actually a variable,
Right.
so you can't use it as a value. You have to create a new variable.
Why does it do all of this mess then? And then say outputs from?
Because it's super cute and
I
like a
don't know.
puppy, also really annoying sometimes.
It's supposed to work that way. You would think it works that way.
Well, so
Okay.
where is it putting everything then when I automatically assigns them in here? I'm not manually assigning anything. I'm getting everything back that I marked output in the subflow.
Nope, that's input. So input values are
No,
what
right
your
here.
main flow.
I'm talking this box right here.
Yeah, that's different, but these are all input values. You don't have any output values. So
At
the
the
input
moment.
values are main flow that you're passing down to your subflow. So your
Correct.
walls form will go that way. We need to actually go to your subflow in Flow Builder to set your output variable values.
Oh, they're all set as outputs. And that's what I'm saying. In this, I'm telling it automatically assign them when they come back. Don't manually assign them.
I
Because
don't,
if I manually assign
Mm-mm.
them, I get another error on the error output.
Right, these are not output variables, these are input. This is going from main flow to subflow. We need a set that goes from subflow back to main flow.
So let's go here.
which doesn't work in the same element, like,
Right, so
like you
we
can't do it in
actually,
that element, unfortunately,
yeah,
I think.
we actually need to go here.
So here's the subflow.
Okay,
Right.
And just find my price, since that's the one we're worried about right now.
okay, so that is set is available for output. Walls price.
So I think at the end of a subflow, it doesn't actually automatically send that back as an output without telling it that you want to put it as an input on your parent flow.
Right,
Like, it's like, okay, that's available for output, but it hasn't gone back to your parent flow unless you do that a manual assignment to the variables, I believe.
What, back in the parent?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, I got a bar in my way.
So here where if you click that manual assign variables, you might need to refresh if you just updated it. So now these are all your variables in the
Correct.
subflow that are marked as output variables, right?
Correct,
So then find the price one,
which was right here.
and then in there, you're going to have to create a new variable or have a variable.
This is in my
that's-
parent. That
Okay,
exists
great. Yeah,
there.
store it there. And then use that, the walls price. I mean, it's already assigning it. You don't
Already
actually have to do a
assigned.
separate assignment.
Yeah, but then it throws me another error.
Oh,
Well,
well,
I thought leaving this unchecked would just kind of like when you get a record and tell it get all
Yeah.
fields, it says it just puts them in a record set.
you would think so, but
That's not what's happening.
Yeah, because I think it doesn't know, it's not quite smart enough to say, oh, that's an output in the subflow. I'm going to store that as a variable in the parent. It doesn't quite get that leap, which is too bad.
I'm gonna have to go do something here then on my error.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the second error, at least it's not a GAC, but
No.
Okay, assign
why I try to
subflow
save
area
it.
assignment when stored.
So I've got, okay, I'll need to do the same thing with this then. I'll need to create a variable on the parent to receive that and manually assign it then.
Yeah, because
Okay.
the thing is it says store output variables to use the reference flow's output later in flow, store them in variables. They're assigned when the reference flow finishes running. In the store output values tab, it only shows output variables. The problem is that box that says assign values should not be labeled manually assigned variables. I think that's the crux of the issue.
Okay,
Because that's what's hiding your output variables. And it's like, where did they go? They're hiding behind this box that has a
that's why
terrible
I-
name.
that's why I assumed that was the one that said output from.
right. It's entirely possible that they're moving in the direction of the outputs from to be exactly the way that you expect it to be, but I think it's not quite there yet,
Gotcha.
would be my guess. Because like, yeah, you would think the same way when you're doing a get, it stores it as a record variable and you can just use it.
Right, reference it. That's why I guess that's what I assumed it was doing, and assuming got me into trouble.
Yeah. I
All
mean, it
right.
sure looks like it should work that way, doesn't it?
Well, thank goodness I don't need 30 variables back from this beast. I only need 2. So I'll go work on that and let you know next time if it worked.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Goodness.
Hurt my head. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes,
Some of the
thank you.
simplest things for what seems like should be simple.
Mine hurts too.
My brain was like not ready to be on board with that. Holy cow.
Yeah, subflows are not my friend, but I try.
Well, if they're not your friend, I'm really glad that I didn't try to befriend them.
Well,
So.
And the way I've gotten away with that, this is the first time I've tried to pass stuff back from the subflow. In all the other flows, it does updates directly to the record that needs to be updated. So I'm learning.
So does anyone have any other questions? Because I have, Dale, I have something for you that about made my head like explode this week.
I have a quick question.
Go
Has
ahead.
anyone?
Oh, thank
has
God, Bill.
Has anyone? Has anyone ever tried to declaratively create a lead conversion process?
It can't.
Well, I saw an article that said like if you make a couple of Apex triggers, it can
That's
be
the key word.
done.
That
That's the
Yeah.
key
doesn't
there
sound like
is-
it's declarative though.
Right.
I know. It sounds like I can then do everything else with Flow. Okay, because I'm using the NPSP built-in thing, and it's you get the SOQL error. SOQL queries have reached 99, and it makes my stomach gurgle. So I will talk to Ohad.
Tell Ohad we said hi.
I will.
So we were attempting to update portal stuff, right? With the continuous integration.
Mhm.
And I could not figure out why I was previewing it. It looked great. And then when our users tested it, it was like failing. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Dale, you're going to like spit it out right here. What was I missing? Do you know? Like
Run through it again. What?
So we had like a secondary screen, like I forgot my password. So you put in your email address and it kicks out, okay, now go do this. And so we updated that second screen, that reset password, whatever.
Mhm.
We had it correct. Like all the configuration said, this is done, this is correct. The preview looked great, everything. But when our users like went through and like did the testing and like clicked through, they're like, it takes me to the old screen. It's wrong. And I'm like, how is this wrong? This isn't anywhere. Like, how is this wrong? It doesn't exist anywhere. Do you know what we did wrong?
Is it possible something was cached locally.
I thought that too. I thought maybe it was cached locally, and that wasn't it, because I tried incognito, I tried clearing my cache, I tried all these things. I'm like, I don't even see this old version anywhere. Where is this thing? Lo and behold, are you ready for this? After like lots of like banging my head against the wall, because I don't have experience with Experience Cloud yet. I'm working on it. Post-deployment step of pushing the publish button.
Oh, yeah, I've gotten bitten by that one.
I was like, but I mean, I didn't build the page, right? I was like going through it because like my developer is like out of the office or whatever, but I was like, why is this not working? Like this doesn't exist anywhere. This old version doesn't exist anywhere anymore. I can't find it anywhere, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, why isn't the publish button a different color when changes have been made? Like, show me like what's currently displaying and show me that like changes can be public. Like, show me something, but there is no indicator of any sort unless you press the publish button and it says no changes can be published.
It's
there are
more
no
fun.
So
If you push that button when multiple people are working, then half of the stuff that I'm working on gets published along with what you're ready to publish. And that's way more exciting and fun than actually being able to control the changes that deploy.
And there's like no like indicator that there's like pending changes that haven't been published. So
Also,
I used to
was
hit
my-
that button every day just for the hell of it.
and if you change something and then you don't want to publish it and you want to go back to what you had before, good luck with that.
well, that's kind of my point. Like, you can't see what's currently out there. Like, how do you like?
Almost all the other systems I deal with are like that and not like Salesforce. So feel better.
until they expand the actual metadata visibility of Experience Builder to be able to then say, oh, there's a change. Do you want to blah, 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 blah. You get what you get.
So hard. So hard. It was a, am I crazy kind of like moment. I was like, what am I missing here? And I was like missing like the most basic post-deployment step ever.
Maybe
It's
I'm
like-
the only old guy in the room, but remember when you used to deploy a new version of a flow and you had to manually activate it in the,
I was
Yeah.
just
in the
gonna
target
say
org?
that. Wait, is that
Uh-huh.
not true anymore?
Workflow.
miss
you
that?
had to
I had to
upgrade
do it
too.
last week.
Really? I thought,
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the new things that came
Oh,
out. was
maybe
you
it
could-
is.
I'm using gear set. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
Gotta use
Maybe
change
they didn't
sets.
catch it. They didn't catch up yet.
Change sets, the members only jacket of
I have
DevOps.
another thing I've been doing is I've been creating screen flows and having people go directly to the screen flow, not from Salesforce. And there's, the activated flow, but the hyperlink has the version number in it. That even though that version is deactivated, it's still going to work if they have the direct link to it. It's not really deactivated. It's just not right in the front. So I gave them a link to test, and I didn't chop off the version number, and no one noticed that the old version was there for like 3 weeks.
That actually might explain a problem I had a couple years ago of like some people getting an old version of a flow and I'm being like, how are you getting to that flow version?
Bookmarks.
Bookmarks.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so just got to make sure you chop off all the extraneous things after the /.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Exciting stuff. That's it? That's all we got? Tony, Adriana, nothing?
I had a really panic this morning because I got one of those, the worse error than the SQL query count. It was like the DML, like you've hit more than 10,000 records, but it was just the salesperson hitting the convert button a million times, and it created that error
A
for me. I don't know
manual,
what. Yeah,
like they
you must have been like,
manually exceeded their
convert,
limits.
convert.
Wow.
And then
That's
it
a
just
lot of
like
work.
overloaded the system. But that's why I asked the question about like I have to create my own conversion thing because there's too much crap on the NPSP one. And then there's too many weird things that I need to do afterwards. So I have scheduled flows and but I got rid of all the process builders last week.
Hey, way to go.
So hi, 11 and a half years experience in Salesforce, 0 of them in NPSP. Indulge me here. I know NPSP brings a ton of great goodies for the nonprofit, not-for-profit space, but how much out of the box Salesforce functionality actually gets turned off by NPSP that you wouldn't be able to just unearth lead conversions as Salesforce meant it to be?
It's like, it's where you point the account, right? So you have a choice of where to point the account and the opportunity, like the account relationship on the opportunity that's created, and the
Mhm.
account relationship on the contact are not standard. So I think they
NPSP?
built in the Apex there, and they built that into the Visual Force page to control that as part of the when you manually convert a lead.
Yeah, the
But you
biggest,
Yeah.
But you can't disable that to get back to just out of the box lead conversion of you get an
Oh,
account,
no, you can-
contact
you
goes to
can-
that account, and the
Yeah,
opportunity goes to that
you,
account.
what I disabled the out of the box and I replaced it with this
Oh,
custom
gotcha.
stuff. So I have
Gotcha.
to disable all of it and create my own custom that's a similar copy without all the garbage. And then there's probably something in there from the one of the package another package I installed. They probably added some more to the soup there too. And I have to recreate everyone's work that nobody maintains.
Mm.
It's probably not that hard if I can just put the Apex in there, do the rest in Flow. I'll probably be okay.
I mean, mostly I find with NPSP that whatever Visual Force pages they've created, I would rather not use it. I'd rather create a flow of my own.
Yeah,
Mm.
there's
But
very
the
few that
data
are
model's
that
good.
great.
I like the
Yeah.
data model.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it's mostly because like the household account versus the organization account, and where does the contact, every contact has their household account and then is affiliated with organization accounts.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's the
better
piece
than
that gets
person
confusing
accounts.
with leads.
Yeah, it's person accounts, but it's
But
not
better.
as crappy as person accounts. That's
works.
all it is. NPSP, and they added some fluffy frills here and there, but
And
that's
too
what it
much
is.
Visual Force.
Like Salesforce failed at this B2C thing. The nonprofit community built one that was better 9 years ago. And then Salesforce took it back over. And then someone bought a vacation home when they acquired .org.
Okay.
There, I just summed up all of NPSP for you.
There you go.
Sweet. I'm gonna go sign
Watch
up for
the
the
How To
exam
video
now.
series.
Oh man. Oh man.
That's the video I got to make. That's the April 1 video. Here's the real deal of what NPSP is.
Person accounts, but better.
Well, you have a few months to get that figured out. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
all right.
I was gonna do one that it's like they call it like the P10. They give you like a grant of 10 free licenses, like P50 coming today.
Oh man. All right, we're wrapping things up, but if everyone's all situated, then I mean, we're good, right? Everyone's good. Everyone's good.
Yeah. Hey, Sarah, did you get invited to that New York thing next week?
I did. I can't go.
Okay. I was like, oh, where's Sarah? Okay, cool.
We're having a nonprofit party.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh well.
I need to go to New York. Anyway, I want to see was it Tina?
I want to see
Turner.
Hadestown. That's what I
The
want to
Tina
see.
Turner Broadway show. That's what I wanted to see.
Ooh,
One of my coworkers' daughter is starring in it.
Wow.
I know.
that's
My
cool.
former coworker's daughters. She's starring in it, and I was like, I need to get to New York. I want to see her in action, and I don't think I'm gonna make it. But you know, that's why I want to get to New York, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Not this summer. Got a lot going on.
I saw
Alright.
the Evil Dead musical. That was the last thing I went to off Broadway. I highly recommend it if you can find someone doing it. The songs are, I don't think they ever published a soundtrack, but the songs are great.
The Evil Dead.
And I sat in the
Broadway.
splatter section.
It's fantastic. That sounds fantastic. Oh my god. Meanwhile,
Look
I
it
fall
up. I'm
asleep.
sure you can find a YouTube video or something.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I fall asleep to Stranger Things, and my daughter's like, "How are you falling asleep?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've been watching the third episode like 12 times. I keep falling asleep. I make it like 5 minutes further each night, and I'm like, She's like, how do you fall asleep to that? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, that's scary, Mom. I'm like, whatever.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
See you, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
Bye,
Thank you,
Fred.
everybody.
Weekend.
See
Bye,
you next
folks. Bye.
time.